Hey, this is Jamel, and with this week's sketch I just wanted to show you a second option that replaces the two landscape 4x6 photos with more pictures. So I'm going to use 4 images instead of 2. So here's the first layout from the sketch, and then I'm just going to walk you through the second layout that I'm going to create with the same sketch. So I'm going to start with a gray cardstock background, and then I'm not using any full sheets of pattern paper. I'm just using things that were partially used in my scrap basket. So I've got some Sassafras Lass, some Studio Calico, a little bit of KI Memories, and a little bit of October Afternoon. And I'm not even going to use everything that's here, so that there'll still be some bits and pieces of these two left over, certainly. Okay, and I have 4 photos, and this time I've printed them so that I have 4 2x3 images instead of the 2 large 4x6, and there'll be plenty of room to include all 4 photos. Could even make them a little bit bigger, but it was just easy to print them at that size. Okay, I'm gonna get started. So I've started by choosing what order my photos are going to go in, and because these 4 photos actually take up a little bit less space than the 2 4x6, instead of just putting a border at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and put the pattern behind them. So I'm going to start with this Sassafras pattern, and I'm just going to cut so that I have enough room so that the photo doesn't take up the full height. So I'm going to cut it a bit taller, and I'm going to leave this border at the bottom. And I'm just going to cut a little bit so that it doesn't go quite the full length. So there's a little bit of spare room at the side of the sketch. So I'm just going to add some black ink to the edge. And I'll go ahead and stick this down and start building around it. Okay, so here's the main block where the photos are going to live. And then in this sketch, there's embellishment in this corner and down across here. So I'm going to take my largest scrap first and cut some pieces. And I'm not really going to measure them, I'm just going to eyeball what size would work. I'm going to put that down and that here. Okay, so I add ink to each piece as we go. And I'm just going to tuck this behind. So at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere, so the trick is to have lots and lots of little pieces on top. So I'm going to take this yellow piece and cut it into a few pieces. Now sometimes you'll end up with maybe a little bit of a gap or an awkward space, but I just worry about covering that up later. So now that I've got all these pieces cut and I know they're pretty much going to fit, I'm going to go ahead and do my edging to these larger pieces. And whereas these I just added ink, for the other pieces, I'm gonna paint around the edge with some glimmer mist. This color is called Spanish Moss. It's kind of a greenish gray, and I just shake it up and take the lid off, and then use a paintbrush and I'll just paint quite uneven, awkward lines around all of these pieces. So now all these pieces have glimmer mist painted around the edges, and they've been left to dry, and I've added a little bit to the layout as well. And I'm just going to start attaching these to build those areas of the sketch. So at this point I've followed the basic sketch for the background and the photos, and then I'm going to add the title and then the embellishment on top. So I'm going to add the title with 2 sizes of letter stickers, the main word in yellow thickers by American Crafts, and then the smaller words in mini market stickers from October Afternoon. At this point, I want to add some stickers from this set from American Crafts. It's the Gee Golly Phrases and Journaling from the Peachy Keen collection. And I want to use the stickers, but I want to be able to move them around like die cuts, and I want them to have a little bit of a frame. So I'm going to attach them first to some pattern paper. I'm just going to take a nice bit of neutral notebook paper from the Basic Gray Basics that I just have in a 6x6 pad. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of a frame . And cut around the edge. And then just give it a little bit of ink. Part of why I like to add these stickers to paper first is when I'm using when I'm painting the edges instead of inking them, there is a little bit of a curl, and although I flatten it out and once it's in the album it does go quite flat, there's always going to be that little bit of a curl, and I actually like that. I think it makes it look like it is actually painted. But if you put a sticker down, the sticker will be very, very flat. So by putting it on the paper, then it still has that same texture, and I can curl it up just a little bit like that. So this sticker is going to go at the top, and then a second one in the same color but with journaling lines is going to go down here, and this I'm going to do the same exact thing, and this one is a circle. So I'm just going to cut around it with my scissors. You could find the die cut or the punch that's closest and make it a bit more perfect, I suppose. So with the title and the journaling all in place, then I'm going to go back and fill in some of these gaps with smaller embellishments. I'm going to use some stickers from the Girls Papery. I used one of these or 2 of these on the first layout as well, these little postage stamp stickers. And I just look for little gaps like that that need something to cover it. And then I also like the word strips from Seven Gypsies. And I just cut out different words that I want to use. Just look for different places that they might fit well. I don't want too many words together there, so I might just hold on to this one for a second until I can find a little label to put underneath. Just keep moving it until I get it in the right place. There we go. So just kept adding little bits. I've added some flowers with some pearls in the center, some gray washi tape to bring that gray back into the color scheme, a few extra pearls, some little tags. Just different little embellishments I had handy until I was happy that there was enough stuff on the layout. And now I'm ready to finish the layout, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit more color with the Glimmer Mist and a paintbrush. Did exactly the same on the first layout, but in a color that matched that page. So I'm just going to use the paintbrush to go along the bottom edge of the whole layout. I have a kitchen counter style table, so it's really easy to just clean afterward, but you can just put some spare paper down there if you need to keep your table really clean. And then I'm going to add a few little splashes of paint. And what I do is take some paper to cover up the photos. So just grab what I have handy and cover up the pictures. And then I just use the paintbrush and add a little bit of texture and color. A little bit of sparkle because it's Glimmer Mist, so there's a little bit of sheen, sparkly sheen to it when you can see it up close. And I'll let that dry, and then everything's finished. So that's the same sketch, but with 4 photos instead of 2. And just to show you the 2 photo version and the 4. Thanks for watching.